Let me begin with some words on Jean-Pierre Vigier's impact on my scientific career. When I had to teach the history of relativity theory and quantum mechanics at the Gdańsk University, I read many papers by Louis de Broglie and his books, and I formulated a particle model, a three-wave particle model. I published 2 papers in Physics Letters A, and at that time Jean-Pierre Vigier published his version of three-wave particles. I went to Paris and I met Jean-Pierre Vigier. We discussed this problem, but at the same time I received a scholarship of the Deutsches Museum in Munich, but I looked for a subject of this book. And he gave me a paper by Albert Einstein, Über Ether. I was astonished because I was convinced that Einstein has abolished the concept of ether. But Jean-Pierre Vigier, no, he published many papers on a new ether, on a relativistic ether. And so when I was in Munich, I found out many papers written by Albert Einstein. Then the collected papers of Albert Einstein in Boston gave me unpublished papers on Einstein's ether. The book was published. Max Jammer wrote the foreword, but at the same time I organized a conference in Poland, Problems in Quantum Mechanics, and Jean-Pierre came to Poland. The French embassy gave us a car, so Jean-Pierre Vigier could deliver lectures in Warsaw, Krakow, and other, and I had time to discuss with him many problems, and finally the French government, because of this cooperation, decorated me by the Palme Académique. So thanks to Jean-Pierre Vigier, I became Chevalier de Palme Académique. So you see that I am due to Jean-Pierre Vigier, because this conference is under of Jean-Pierre Vigier, that's why I begin the lectures in this way. But I begin my lectures with a quotation of Wolfgang Baer. He was present but at this conference. If the universe is a machine, consciousness is not possible. If the universe is more than a machine, then physics is incomplete. Since we are both part of the universe and conscious, physics must be incomplete, and the understanding required to construct conscious mechanism must be sought through the advancement of physics, not the continued application of inadequate concepts. I will introduce the Pansomatopsychism in the framework of the conceptual model of the maximal in superbeing that, in my opinion, is beginning step by step the component of the scientific maxi-theory of everything. In such a framework, I shall present the Pansomatopsychism, according to which the cosmic stuff of our universe, and perhaps of many other possible universes, has 2 inseparable dialectic aspects, outer somatic and inner psychic. In almost every worldview, there is recognized and accepted asserted the existence of a maxi-being that is immense and existence ever and forever. Jean-Pierre said me that for him the set of personal gods is empty. But he recognized a maxi being, the matter. He reduced the matter is since ever and forever and these worldviews are recognized the existence of a self-existing, self-acting, self-sufficient, and therefore self-explaining and self-actual. Also, the modern science that provides data for a scientific worldview is going to introduce its own conceptual model of the maxi or in super being, which will belong to its maxi theory of everything. Modern science dreams of a maxi theory of everything. Since antiquity, there were different religious and philosophical, monistic or dualistic conceptual models of the absolute. Some with characteristic reductionism, monistic pan-materialism, all is matter, the psychic processes are only epiphenomena of matter, monistic ontological panpsychism, all is spirit, matter is only an epiphenomena of spirit. For instance, Amit is supporter of such an opinion. Then dualistic, monotheistic, the absolute is reduced to infinitely perfect spirit. The less perfect universes, imperfect universes, are created out of nothing. Other models are free of any reductionism. For instance, the Pansomatopsychism. All is the subsistent existence with all its different modalities. The latest is, in my opinion, the best candidate to become the absolute for the modern science in its theory of everything, because it is free of every kind of reductionism. It embraces the whole realm of existence, nothing excluded. This model can be found in the Anaximander philosophy in antiquity, and the Bible in the Sirach book, and at the end of Middle Age in the Nicholas of Cusa philosophy. Although in each of these presented above conceptual models of the absolute, something else is indicated as the maxi being. For instance, God, nature, perfect spirit, matter, subsistent, existent, and so on. The existence of the maxi super being as such is considered as obvious, as evident, as necessary, because if there was not the self-existing, self-acting, self-sufficient absolute, there would be nothing. Why? Because there can nothing emerge from an omni-nothing, from an all-nothingness. There can nothing emerge from a zero of being, zero of information, zero of activity, zero of laws, and so on. Therefore, there must exist an eternal maxi super being in which also life, consciousness, and intelligence exist, at least potentially. So we are dealing at least with a potential Pansomatopsychism that became already actual on our Earth and perhaps also on many other exoplanets. The maxi all-in being that, in my opinion, is compatible with modern science does not reduce the absolute to any modality of existence, because by definition and by its nature, it embraces the entire realm of subsistent existence in which participate all possible modalities of existence, among them also somaticity and psychism. We human beings, we are alive, conscious and intelligent. Therefore, we are all convinced that life, consciousness, and intelligence are possible in our universe. What is possible exists at least potentially, if not actually. On our earth, life, consciousness, and intelligence exist actually. Pansomatopsychism is a deep conviction that in our universe, perhaps in other possible universes, there are life, consciousness, and intelligence at least potentially, if not actually. In Poland, Bolesław Józef Gawecki, physicist and philosopher, has introduced the term panpsychosomatism. According to Gawecki, every elementary particle is a quantum of psychosomatic energy, and every physical process is of a psychosomatic nature. But according to him, it means not only that the cosmic stuff is psychosomatic in appropriate conditions, but also the maxi being is of a psychosomatic nature. According to him, God is the soul and the universe is his body. Gawecki is not the first of such an opinion. In the past, there were several philosophers that supported the opinion of a God incarnated in the universe. Today, however, this opinion sounds strange and unrealistic. If the universe was God's body, then we could ask if in it there is also God's brain, and whether perhaps the galaxies are maxi neurons of God's brain. It is clear that such speculations belongs to a philosophical and theological fiction. Nowadays, philosophers, scientists, and even theologians are disposed to state that the notion somacity and consciousness cannot be applied to the absolute as such. It is considered by them as transsomatic, transconscious, transpersonal. The absolute cannot be neither a body among bodies, nor a person among persons, nor a consciousness among consciousnesses. In the maxi super being, we are dealing with the coincidence of opposites, with non-somaticity and somacity, with unconsciousness and consciousness, with impersonal beings and persons. The absolute is superior with respect to things and persons. It is the subsistential existence as such of all of them. Bodies, consciousnesses, and persons are modalities of the omnipresent and omnipenetrating subsistent existence that is one and all. They are local expressions, local modalities of the omnipresent, non-local absolute of the ultimate reality, embracing the penetrating all and penetrating all. Such an opinion is supported by the Nobel Prize Christian Vigier in his books. Professor Tadeusz Bilikiewicz, a psychiatrist, is more moderate in his panpsychic opinions. According to him, we can be sure that we are dealing with psychism when an animal has a neural system, but we can also ask whether the unicellular organisms have elementary psychism because of their characteristic sensibility. Tadeusz Kilanowski, pulmonologist, is of a similar opinion. According to Bilikiewicz and Kilanowski, as regards the prebiotic cosmic stuff, we can say that life, consciousness, and intelligence are there only present, at least in a potential way. According to them, nature contains in itself the capacity to become alive, conscious, and intelligent. Now I present some versions of physicists. There are several physicists course, Jean Charron, Czesław Miałczewski, and others, who are of the opinion that we should go even further back in the evolution of consciousness. According to them, in order to create a grand unified theory, it is necessary to develop psychophysics. Here you see Jean Charron. He published his books. You can see here the second edition has a title Introduction à la psychophysique. Jean Charron, in his trial of formulating a great unified theory, has introduced, beside the four spatio-temporal coordinates of general relativity, another four-dimensional coordinates, superposing them on the general relativity coordinates by using the complex numbers. According to him, the general relativity coordinates serve to describe the outer side of the cosmic stuff, and the coordinates with complex numbers serve to describe the inner psychic side of the physical reality. Elementary particles are carriers of information in their psyche, insight. The Polish physicist Czesław Miałczewski tried to formulate a quantum mechanical interpretation of Pansomatopsychism. I wrote my PhD thesis on this on his interpretation of quantum mechanics. According to Miałczewski, the quantum mechanical function psi that evolves in time in the configurative Hilbert space is a mathematical tool to describe the inner psychic side of the atomic structures, and when we superpose on it operators of observables, then also the outer side of these structures is described. The inner side described by function psi was called by him potentiality. In his opinion, if we could write a Schrödinger equation for the maxi being, then the universal all-in being could be called the maxi potentiality. According to him, the atomic systems composed of elemental particles react when we do experimental observation upon them, like living organisms, to save their integrity. Therefore, he introduced into quantum mechanics also the notion of organicity. In my opinion, the conception of the potential and actual panpsychosomatic nature of the cosmic stuff of our universe and perhaps of other universes can serve for scientists as a good philosophical background when looking for origins of life, consciousness, and intelligence. Now I present the principle, the homogeneity principle, of the homogeneity of nature principle, and the conviction that life is a cosmic imperative. We have not yet any direct or indirect observational evidence that in our galaxy there is extraterrestrial life, consciousness, and intelligence. In looking for such an evidence, my astronomers choose often the investigations of the atmospheres of the transiting planets in front of and along the surface of their stars. Why? We have here a transiting planet.
Oh, sorry.
On the basis of the homogeneity principle, consciously, or perhaps still unconsciously, but certainly instinctively, they arrive to the conclusion that if we will discover in the atmospheres of a transiting planet the same chemical elements and compounds like on our Earth, then we can be sure that there is life and that these compounds have to be considered as biomarkers. The homogeneity principle states what the laws of nature, as described by physics, chemistry, biology, and other scientists, admit here and now spontaneously happens under competent conditions elsewhere. In other words, the same physical phenomena given the same circumstances around the same way. This statement concerns also statistical phenomena, and in such a case, it sounds the same statistical physical phenomena given the same statistical circumstances around the same statistical way. The homogeneity principle plays a fundamental part in scientific thinking. The purpose of this paper is to show that it conducts us even to the statement that life, also with consciousness, is a cosmic imperative. It will be shown that the principle in consideration is already inscribed in the mathematical structures of the different branches of natural sciences. Modern science has come to the conclusion that nature is homogeneous. That's one of the results of the Copernicus principle, according to which the Earth holds no central, especially favorite position. This developed into the principle our planet and solar systems are no greater nor lesser than other planets and systems, and finally in the modern cosmology into the principle of homogeneity and the cosmological principle, each indicating different aspects of the same principle. Before Copernicus presented his new vision of the solar system, a majority of scholars were convinced that the universe was divided into two parts, the perfect superlunar world and the imperfect sublunar world. When using the telescope, Galileo Galilei discovered spots on the surface of the sun, scholars gradually came to the conclusion that the superlunar world is imperfect as well. Thus, step by step, the principle of the homogeneity of nature was born. Thanks to any later, the principle of homogeneity entered in classical physics. The homogeneity principle found its mathematically idealized expression in physics thanks to Emmy Noether in her theorem of the universality of physical laws. According to her, the laws of physics are invariant with respect to the displacement in space, what finds its expression especially in the law of momentum and conversation, with respect to the displacement in time, what finds its expression especially in the law of energy conservation, and with respect to rotation, what finds its expression especially in the law of angular momentum conservation. In such a way, thanks to Emmy Noether, the homogeneity principle entered into the mathematical structure of classical physics. The non-quantum physicist Richard Feynman expressed his doubts whether the homogeneity principle can be used in quantum mechanics, because the Noether's theory concerns just the relation between physical quantities that appear in Heisenberg uncertainty relation. As is well known, the Heisenberg uncertainty relations are products of uncertainty of space location and uncertainty of momentum, of uncertainty of time location and uncertainty of energy, and of uncertainty of angular displacement and uncertainty of angular momentum. However, as it was shown in subsequent researches, there exists also a proper invariance of quantum mechanics laws with respect to displacement in space and time, and with respect to rotation. You can find this in the book of Shankar. Thus, the homogeneity principle finds its expression in a proper way in the mathematical structure of quantum mechanics, and in this way, in the structure of quantum chemistry, quantum biochemistry, and so on. It means that the principle under consideration finds its expression in the biological sciences as well. This fact shows that the opinion according to which life with consciousness and intelligence is a cosmic imperative has a reasonable and meaningful basis. Although we have not yet any sure observational evidence that life, consciousness, and intelligence are cosmic phenomena, we are to a certain extent in a situation similar to which exists after political elections, but before the counting of the votes. Thanks to good sample of observational data and statistical calculations, we know already in the evening which political party won the election, to the computing, though the computing of the votes has not yet begun. Christian Didier, cytologist, bionomist, Nobel Prize laureate, indicates many observational data and uses the probability calculus to show that we can already state that life is a cosmic imperative. He presents the empirical data and his statistical calculation is in his books. As regards the empirical data, he indicates that 20% of the cosmic dust, which constitutes 0.5% of the mass of our galaxy, is composed of organic compounds. According to him, our universe is a great melting pot of organic synthesis because the amino acid can be found in meteorites and are found using spectroscopy in the comet tails. Therefore, one of his books has the title Vitro Dark. Note that peptides and proteins are compounds of amino acids. All these compounds are shares of life. The Dief opposes also the Einstein's statement, God doesn't play dice with the world. His own statement is, God plays dice with the universe because he is sure to win. Thanks.
No, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Concerning the wave function, which contains also a psychic part, do you think that we can find an operator able to see the psychic part, or by definition you think that operators can only see the non-psychic part?
That's idea of Czesław Białowski. I am not able
No, just an opinion.
My opinion is try to solve the psychosomatic problem, but if it is true, I'm not for be sure. I'm far from be sure.
You want to say something?
Do it.
Okay, Ludovico, just brief questions. The relations or relationship, if any, between the founder, Gabesky, and the Jansenist philosopher Blaise Pascal. And second, the relationship, if any, between homogeneity principle and the anthropic principle.
As regards the first question, I have not made any study on this. And as regards the second, the anthropic, we are living already the times after Copernicus. Geocentrism and anthropocentrism is for me something, but our physical knowledge consists of different mathematical operations. For instance, we have photon that run. That's a physical process. But what we do, we divide the land at the time, and we say that is the velocity. But I can do another operation, divide the time, and then it's the inverse of the velocity, but it is how much time we need to. We can also multiply time, and it is a coefficient of action. And you make a product of force, time, and then you have action. You see that our human consciousness is aspectual. We always, and then so we create also the other constants. Also, Newton had, because he wanted to have a force, and his law of the dependence of mass in the square law, he had to put a coefficient. And so we convinced that the nature of God has so prepared that it must be life. We are not sure if the constants are constants. Perhaps there are authors that say that the constants are time dependent. So this principle of anthropocentrism, I don't believe in it.
So we're at the end of time, only whether your question was very quick.
Well, my question was just, you refer to God in the talk. What God are you talking about? I mean, how do you define God in your book?
For me, all personal gods, like for Vigier or De Bruyne, the set of such a gods is empty. I prefer Einstein's idea. He recognized the world, but he wrote also a paper about the physical reality. And for him, behind this physical reality is something real, mysterious. He admired this mystery. He used sometimes the word God, but for him also the set of personal gods was empty. He did not believe in a personal God.
I think we'll have to call the discussion to a close now. So can we thank the speakers?